Alright, hope everybody's doing well. Hope you guys are having a good Sunday. It's funny how the weekend tends to, I don't know, for me it goes by really quickly. I think it's because when you're like wrapped up in like doing a whole bunch of stuff, then time really goes fast. But I hope you guys are doing well. If you're not, how are you guys doing? Today we're gonna be going over some history on games. I thought it'd be like a nice thing to do since it's been quite a long time. I mean, obviously, like it's been quite a long while, and there's been like so many creations in the gaming space. So I thought it'd be fair to look at like some of the things in the past. Hey Naomster, I hope you're doing well. So I do want to like make a poll on like what you guys think is the best age in terms of gaming, because nowadays I hear, I don't know if like you guys would agree with this statement, but nowadays I hear like people say this gaming has been the best that it has ever been. And I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know if it's been the best that it's ever been. Like, yeah, there's like more games out there being put out nowadays, but I'm sure there's like more to it. There's like more negatives, like it costing more, and you know, more microtransactions and more pre-orders. But then again, you know, it's not like we didn't have that in the past either. So, but I wouldn't know if I would agree if like as to like whether or not people think it's like the best like it's ever been. Okay, so what else? Oh, there was like I did like a little bit of history digging, like researching for like some of this stuff, because I literally didn't know what was like the first game that was ever created. Because I used to think it was like Pong, you know, like the two sticks and you hit the ball on like a black screen. But I looked on like a Wikipedia article. Now I know most people say not to trust like Wikipedia, but like it seems as though there's like, it goes back dating to like the 50s, where you have like a couple people who got like a supercomputer, so they decided to write up a computer program, and that's basically how they were able to create the first ever quote-unquote video game. So that was kind of astonishing to me. But was it good? I don't know about that. So we might go over that. Okay. What else did I wanted to say? Not much else. Okay, let me go over the... So I made like a bit of a PowerPoint slide because we aren't just like gonna Google stuff. That would be kind of boring unless you guys wanted to do that. And yeah, this is my slides. Okay. Wait, hold on, give me 1 second. There we go. I just want to make sure you guys can see it. It's got a bit of a space theme going on. So, you can like get these templates off of like many websites. Some of them like probably contain viruses, but I know it doesn't exactly fit the theme of what we're talking about. Oh wait, hold on. Okay. Yeah, I titled it Floating Spaceman. But you guys know what we're gonna talk about. Okay. So, the first age of gaming, I titled it as the Ice Age or the Stone Age. So I didn't know whether or not like the Ice Age came before or after the Stone Age, so I had to Google that too. But this is like the prehistoric age, or like the caveman type age, where everything was super primitive. And like the funniest thing was it was also the most expensive to make. which I was like, I don't think that would be worth it to like compared to nowadays. Anyways, so the Ice Age and the Stone Age, it went from 1950 to the 1960s. Now, this template also came with like a astronaut woman, so I just put her down there because, I don't know, I didn't want to get rid of them. Okay, so the first ever game was called... Oh wait, hold on. Can I go back? The first ever game was called Space Wars, which was created by, I think, 3 MIT and Harvard students, which at the time they were given a supercomputer, and they were tasked to type up some sort of computer program for their assignments. So instead of doing that, they made a video game instead with their spare time. And all it was is just a like asteroid shooter, where you had like you piloted a triangle and you shoot at other triangles, or you shoot at other objects. I mean, which nowadays it's, I mean, compared to now, it's like Space Invaders almost. There's like so many of these nowadays, but that was the first ever video game. And then after that came Tennis for Two, which, I mean, it's exactly what you think it is. It's just, I mean, it's like for the Wii almost, but it's a very primitive version of that. So, playing these, you would think that, like, it's super simple, right? But in actuality, if you take a look at like this, it was like super complicated to try and play because there's like more than 4 knobs. So only people who had like advanced knowledge on like computers and they knew how this worked, they could like pilot the entire thing as if they were driving an entire ship, could ever do this. And I think what makes matters worse, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but like each of these creations, in order to play them, you needed to pay about $120,000. And this was like back in 1950. Nowadays, if you adjust for like inflation, it costs like I think $1.2 million. So yeah, making these is really expensive, but also super complicated to play. So not only did not a whole lot of people get to play it, I guess not a whole lot of people know about it because it was super expensive and they never got a chance to play it. Okay. I also have like a little video about like how the game is, or like what it's like to play it. But I'm not really sure if that's like actually, I don't know. That's like a really old video. I can't really upgrade like the graphics on it or anything. Okay. I will play it though, because I haven't seen the video myself, nor do I know like what the gameplay is. But I imagine it's like super simple. Playing it though, not so much. I like how they have this techno music playing in the background. I mean, that's the game. It's just a spaceship moving through space. It's not exactly revolutionary. I mean, at the time creating this is, but that's just all it is. So if you want like your very own machine to play it, you're gonna have to cough up $1.2 million. I don't know, maybe the funniest thing to me is like this thing exists, like as a relic of its time, but you can't exactly play it. Like, even if you wanted to, just to try it out, it's not available anywhere. And you would think, like, I don't know, 70 years later into the future, we'd be able to play these things a lot cheaper. It does kind of look cool. I mean, apart from, like, the impacts. Damn, they took away the music. Did they got copyright? Yeah, I don't know about that. It's not really worth playing. Especially not at that price. Like, I like how it resembles stuff. Yep. There you go. That was Space Wars. Oh. Hold on. Why didn't I exit out of this? That was weird. Okay. Oh, I think it's because I went to, like, the other slide. Alright, so after the invention, or after the creation of Space Wars, the four students decided to put their brains together and make an arcade cabinet, which is this was actually one of the very first arcade cabinets, which surprisingly was a lot cheaper to make compared to the first game they made. This one, I think it cost like $1,000, but it wasn't really a commercial success, since all it was is just like the same thing as Space Wars, but just put into like a like you could put it anywhere. You could put it on like a university campus for like students to play. And that's exactly what they did. It's just that nobody really bought into it. And it never really got anywhere. It never became popular. It was although it was like the first arcade cabinet and it was a lot cheaper. As I think it took for them it took as low as like $100 just to make. So it's a step up or a step down compared to what was it? Uh, like a million. Oh, not a million. A step up from what was it? Like $1 million, or $1.2 million to play. Actually, at the time it cost $120,000, but now since they made this instead, it only cost them $1,000. So it was a little bit better, but not by much. And this marked the end of the Stone Age, of prehistoric video games. So was this generation good? No, no, it was not good. It was not good at all. Like, it's at the start, everything sucked. Nobody really got to play anything. So, this is the time where, even though history was made, nobody got to play these things. Or very few did. Alright. So after this came the Renaissance, the 1970s and the 1980s. So most of this stuff it will obviously look a little bit more familiar, but I'll start with like the most common one that people generally start with when they think about video games. And when you ask somebody, what do you think was the first video game ever created? And they would go and say Pong. Which, I mean, it's fine to think that. I used to think that too, but like it wasn't. But like Pong at the time wasn't exactly, I mean, it was super popular, but like I knew it was a thing. Like, I wasn't born at this time either, but even I knew it was a thing. But yeah, respect to Pong. It was a good game. I don't know if anybody plays Pong nowadays. Like, yeah, it's nice looking, but like it's been replaced by like other things. But yeah, this is Pong. Okay, so the most important thing about this age was the start of home gaming. Yeah, so it all started with the Atari. So since gaming became a lot cheaper and a lot more affordable compared to what it was like back in the 50s and the 60s, you no longer needed a supercomputer to play quote-unquote video games, and the technology got a little bit more advanced, so now families could start buying them for their own homes. And this included a couple of the games here that you might know. The first one is Space Invaders, and the second one is Pac-Man. But Atari also went on to create like other consoles. This was the 2600 series, but the next one was the 5200, and the last one was the 7800. Yeah, so at this time, this also created a competition with like the home gaming systems. Now, none of these I actually know about because I don't think most people ever gave a crap, but there was the Intellivision, the Magnavox, and the Bally Astrocade. There's also one I think was called like the Fairchild home entertainment system. That was also there, but I didn't bother to put it down. But it did, well, it was part of the competition. And yeah, was it really amazing in any way? Not really. Was it a step up from graphics? Yeah, it's like 8-bit. So I think I also put in a slide here asking you guys like testing you guys like what games do you recognize? Yeah, try naming some of these games if you recognize them. If you don't, that's okay. At least to me, it's super simple. Like, if you asked me to like name any of these games, I probably wouldn't know, except for the first one. The first one seems like it's a lot more easy, because like you could see what it is. The second one, I don't know what happened there, and then the third one, even I don't know what it is. Frogger? Yeah, the first one is Frogger. I was surprised that it was on the NES. I always thought it was on the Super Nintendo, but apparently I'm wrong on that. Okay, so the second one is E.T., which was famous for the fact that I think the developers or the producers, I don't know if you guys heard this story before, but they dumped like a whole bunch of the E.T. games because it didn't sell well and it was a bunch of crap. And they dumped it in a New Mexico landfill, which later on was a rumor at the time that they went ahead and did that. But later on down the road, it was discovered that they found like the games buried there, and the developers or whoever produced the game was the culprits, and they actually did bury the games, but I'm not really sure why. Because they could have just kept it and sold the rest of the inventory, but they chose not to. They chose to just like dump it all away. But yeah, that's a little bit of a tidbit there. And the third one, I think it was called Indiana Jones and the Lost Ark. And it was a movie-based game, like the second one. So I don't know why I don't know why even back then movie-based games looked like crap and they played like crap. Like the first one, like it resembles a game, and then the second and third one, I don't know what those are. You probably can't see me. I mean, you probably can't see like Indiana Jones, but yeah, maybe if I move a little bit over. Okay, so after all this became the crash of gaming. This happened all in 1983. I read a little bit of a history on this. And it was caused by a numerous amount of things. Mostly competition, because there were so many game consoles at the time and so many shitty games that were made. So, I made like a little bit of a line chart. Well, not a line chart. It's like a lineage thing. I don't know what you call them. But it was mainly caused by too many consoles, and that led to cheap-ass games, and most of the games were really expensive. So nowadays, since people think that games were expensive, and they still are, they think like $70 is expensive, but back then, it was like $80 or like even $90. So, and I think some of them were like 100, like, or 100 and up even. So, it's about the same. And what caused this was also the PC master race. Since we had like the creation of the computer. And not only was this a bit more affordable, it had a lot more utility to it. You know, there's only 2 or 3 people watching you, and that's fine, I don't mind that. Oh, I hope you're doing well, Kaiser92. I don't really mind if, like, some or, like, nobody watch me. I am glad that, like, you guys are here. Okay, so, the reason why, when it comes to, like, having PCs, is it was a lot more affordable, but also you could do a lot more with a computer than you could do with a console. Because with a console, you could just play games, but with a computer, you could type up stuff, you could send emails. There's like so much you can do with it. And I don't think like at the time there was like internet, because this was like early 90s. There was just a lot more you could have done. So yeah, that's the game industry in a nutshell in 1983. Oh, also faxing stuff. That was also important. Alright. Now there's gonna come some things that you guys might recognize. Because I know I might have shocked you guys with with like some of the other game consoles, the very first ones. This one, I think, this one involves like the NES and a bit of its competitors, like Sega. I wish I had a PC, but I'm broke. That's okay. I don't know how you're watching me, though. So, this, since the game stock market crashed, and that happened in 1983, people were trying to collect the scraps, and amongst the scraps, there were some competitors that rose up, like Sega, Nintendo, and a bit of Atari. Atari was still in the game, but like it was struggling financially. So yeah, all those other competitors of Atari that tried to, you know, compete with it, they're dead. In the market, I mean. And this came the NES. Ta-da! Yeah, I don't know if you guys recognize some of the games, but they're a bit of a historical significance of some kind. Alright, these are important mostly because people they know them for what they are today. Like the Legend of Zelda and Super Mario. Not so much of Donkey Kong, but these 2 other titles. We have, what is it? The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And we have Super Mario Odyssey. So without these, we wouldn't have those. I don't know if they have like any Donkey Kong games that are released nowadays, but maybe in the future. If there are, I haven't really heard any. I have an Acer laptop, iPad, an iPhone, and a VR, but I have no money. That's okay. When I used to make like YouTube videos, I had a laptop as well. I didn't even have a computer. So For me, I went on Amazon. I bought like a $20 microphone. It was like a condensed microphone. I don't even know if it was $20. It was like 15, 18, something. I bought it off Amazon. I plugged it in. And the only editing software I had at the time was, I think, Windows Movie Maker. So I started off doing that, and it slowly grew into something else. Yeah, over time, my setup became a lot better as I kept making videos. But it took me about one and a half years to really get going. Yeah, that's when I found out I could just do something that was... How do I call this? I found out if I did something that I put effort into, rather than just uploading every day, it became a lot better for me. So by doing that, I grew. But slowly, over time, you'll be able to upgrade your setup. Like, you might not have money now, but, you know, eventually you will. Alright. So, these are some other NES games. I don't know if you recognize any of them. I know I kind of spoiled it by having the cover art, but hey. You guys should recognize some of them. Maybe not all of them, but Mega Man is probably the most well-known amongst these. That and Kirby. The others, they've slowly kind of gotten forgotten over time. Like Punch-Out! And Contra and Ninja Gaiden. Duck Hunt, I don't think anybody really cares all that much about, but it was part of the NES. It was part of the NES collection. I have a mini NES. I have an NES Mini. It's super cool. Yeah, I heard that a lot of game companies are putting out like mini versions of their consoles, like the NES and the SNES. I have like I remember I have like a PS1. Was it a PS1? I don't remember. My sister gave it to me. It was like a mini PS1, but I don't remember where I put it. Like, all the games were already installed onto it. To me, it just feels like a bit of historical significance of some kind to have these relics. But I'd rather just have like the old versions. Maybe for like nostalgia purposes. But it's great that these gaming companies are porting out these games that aren't available, like, let's say on Steam or GOG or any of the platform websites. But yeah, that's super interesting. Alright, after the NES came the SNES, which was a huge step up. It went from 8 bits to 32 bits. That means it's 4 times the graphics. Well, not really, but you guys get what I mean. The graphics obviously look a lot better, and the gameplay and the size of the games got bigger. And also the capacity and storage of it was obviously a lot bigger. But was the games better? Yes. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember any of the games, or you guys played or had a SNES, but the only ones I recognize on here is just Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy, and... well, Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, Super Castlevania, and... well, Secret of Mana. That's another one. You guys can't see on here, but... and Killer Instinct. I didn't play these, like, when I was a kid, but it took me a lot of time just to get an emulator and actually play some of them. But yeah, I won't exactly say I have fond memories of these games, but I do remember them. I love the Donkey Kong game. Oh my god, it's so fun. I don't really remember all that much about Donkey Kong, but I always kind of wondered why Donkey Kong was kind of lumped with Super Mario. Even though, like, in the future, in like the future Super Mario games, Donkey Kong isn't there. It was like kind of a one-off thing. But it's so interesting that they don't really have like a collaboration anymore. There's also Star Fox. Never played that, but I do know it was like super... It was a lot better than Space Shooters at the time. And what else? There's also Super Bomberman, but that never caught my eye. Oh, and Link to the Past. This one I played. So, this was like one of the first ever emulated games I played. I think it was on like the Game Boy Advance. So it wasn't necessarily on the SNES, but it still holds up. At least I think it does. Chrono Trigger, on the other hand, that one's a bit of a gem. Yeah, if you guys ever like JRPGs or RPGs, this is super long, but it's also super good. Like I'm really surprised how much of a step up it is from the NES. All right. After those two consoles came the Sega Dreamcast. And I know there's like a bunch of other consoles during this time, but the Sega Dreamcast was underrated because nowadays people say it was underrated and it wasn't appreciated all that much. And that's the sad part. So it had a short lifespan, but the games on it were really good. I don't know about the controller. The controller looks like shit. I like the Dreamcast and I like the games, but the controller was crap. That I gotta put that out there. All right, I used to have a Sega Dreamcast. The controllers were big. They were super bulky. I could barely put my hand on it. I don't have small hands, but it was super big. But yeah, some of the games on there were really good, like Soul Calibur. Some of them that I know are Echo the Dolphin, Jet Set Radio, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, and what else? There's obviously a lot more, but oh, Typing of the Dead. Wait, no, that's not it. The House of the Dead. I don't know why the Typing of the Dead's on there. Oh, Shenmue's on here as well. This one was a cult classic to many people. It wasn't exactly popular, because it was just like playing a game and living a life of like I think a high school student. So if you were like into that, but to most people you probably wouldn't be into that. It was just like generically boring. Like yeah, it had some tidbits here and there, but it was just like overall kind of boring. Let me see, what else do I remember? There's also Street Fighter and Dead or Alive. That series was on there. Oh, Crazy Taxi. That one was great. I mean, you play it for like 10 or 20 minutes, and then you'd probably get bored of it, but it's good to pass the time. Alright, so this one surprised me a little bit, but the PlayStation 1 was one of the consoles that debuted in the 1990s, and I thought it was like later on in the 2000s, but I was wrong. So the PlayStation 1, I think it debuted in 1996 or 95, so it was really early, which was shocking to me because this was about the time of the SNES. that and Sega Dreamcast. So some of the PlayStation 1 games on here were, I mean, I don't think it needs a whole lot of introduction. There's obviously like so many games you probably recognize on here. Any games you guys like or you guys liked beforehand? I don't think most of these games are on PC, but some of them are. Like Resident Evil and Final Fantasy. Those are available on PC. Maybe I think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was also on there. Papa the Rapper is good. Is that the rhythm game? I sort of recognize it. But this was like an era where everything became a lot better. Like a lot more... I want to say a lot more serious, but then we'd move on to like the actual golden age. I don't know if most people would agree with me on that, but I will talk a little bit about it. Oh, also during this time was the Nintendo 64. Surprisingly, since we had like the PS1 and we also had the Sega Dreamcast, we also had the Nintendo 64, which everybody knows about. So, the games on here were pretty tame, they were pretty kid-friendly. And a lot of it was just Mario. Oh, one thing I've always thought about, and this like, whenever I used to like I used to watch this like one game on YouTube of like Killer Instinct. It always said like coming soon on Nintendo Ultra 64. And I always wondered, where the fuck is the Ultra 64? What happened to that? I thought they were gonna release it, but they never did. It was just like it was just a regular 64. So yeah, it was just a Nintendo 64. There was never an Ultra 64. Yeah, Star Wars and Mario Kart were legendary. Yeah, like I have super fond memories of Mario Kart. But like my first taste of Mario Kart wasn't on the Nintendo 64. My first taste was on the GameCube, which I'm now forgetting that I didn't put on here. Which my first taste was like Super Mario Kart Double Dash. That one allowed like two players, one to sit sit at the back, and then the other drives. Oh, also you got like 2 items, I think. But yeah, that was like super fun. Can't forget about 007. 007. Here's the thing. I don't get why people like the game. And it's like, no, it's not to shame people who like it, but I watched like some of the gameplay way back when, and it just looked atrocious. like trying to aim in that game, it was just terrible. Like, I don't know how people did it back then. Like nowadays, if you play it on like an emulator, like the game runs fine and it's definitely better. But like if you don't have that emulation, it just like I feel like it's just frustrating to play. It's the multiplayer that made the game fun. Oh, that and the cheat codes. Hold on. GoldenEye. Yeah, they also had like the cheat codes to enlarge your head, and also have like a couple of other things in multiplayer, right? Oh, you can also become like tiny. Oh, what other thing did I wanted to talk about? or mention here? Oh yeah, the Ultra 64 thing. Oh yeah, here it is. This was so good. This was so good. All right.
Available.
All right, what? See, at the time, I believed that it was gonna be an Ultra 64. All right, but sadly there wasn't.
Available for your home in 1995, only on Nintendo Ultra 64.
And that never came to be. And
Killer Instinct.
I thought there would be an Ultra 64, but I was lied to. And even like 10 years later, I thought it would have been made, but it wasn't. Hey, Flame Bro. Hope you're doing well. I'm home tomorrow, but that's obviously not a stream day. Well, I hope you're doing well. How'd the party go? What was so ultra about it? I don't know. But it was cool. Okay, so after all this came the golden age of gaming. Or I consider this the golden age because this was the start of like the computer master race or the PC master race. This was when the internet became an actual thing and people could play games online and, you know, do other stuff. Aren't you guys glad we have the internet now? So, this was the rise of MMOs. It was the rise of microtransactions. And it was the rise of two competitors, PlayStation and Xbox, as well as Steam. You guys know that Steam was created in 2003? Yeah, it's super old. It's like 20-something years old. I don't know where you guys buy games, but I buy majority of the games that I get is just off of Steam. But yeah, so a lot of what people play nowadays, it derives from MMOs, and some of these things they're still available, like microtransactions in Steam. But I don't know about Xbox. Does anybody even own an Xbox? Like, the only exclusives at the time, and I'll actually talk about this a little bit later, but let me just mention let me just mention the MMOs, all right? Because the MMO department is obviously important because, you know, you guys play Wizard 101, but okay. Hey, Neutrality Czar, I hope you're doing well. So, MMOs. Now, some of these MMOs you guys probably might recognize. Now, Wizard 101 is in the corner, but all these other ones, they were really popular at the time, to a certain extent, but there's only a couple that have ever really lasted. And that's kind of a shame if you guys think about it. Because some of these games, people don't really play anymore, while others... I feel like MMOs are kind of like a dying fad almost. Because nowadays you have like gacha games. You also have like online service games that you pay money for. What is it called? Live service games. So you pay for like access to those, and MMOs are just kind of that one thing that gets updated every week or every once in a blue moon. But back then, a lot of people really played and they really liked these games. Can you guys guess like how many games survived to this day out of this bunch? It's a really easy question. If you guys were alive back then. I own an Xbox 360. 3 of 7 games survived to this day. Yeah, you're on the nose for that one. 4-3, on the nose. So, MapleStory, at the time, Nexon was this company that produced MMOs, not MMOs. They produced certain games that involved microtransactions because they were money hungry. So they produced only a couple games. They produced, I think, Dragon Age, MapleStory, Combat Arms, and a few others that I'm blanking on. But those games are also equally as dead. So nobody really likes Nexon because they're the equivalent of EA, just a little bit worse. Except they're a foreign company as well. They're in Korea. 4-3, kind of. So we can like go back and forth and say like some of these games survived. But out of all of these, Wizard 101, World of Warcraft, and RuneScape are I'd say the only games that I think are... I think they have like a dedicated following. MapleStory, maybe. And EVE Online, I don't know. Probably not. And I should know because I did a video on this, but I only played it for like a couple hours. And all it was just like riding a ship and blasting asteroids for their resources. Oh, Gaia Online. I had fond memories of Gaia Online, but nowadays it's just a graveyard. It's really sad about the current state of what happened to it. Club Penguin. That one's just straight up gone. I know they made a... What is it? They made a new version of Club Penguin, but I forgot what it was called. It was like something reloaded. What is Gaia? Okay, let me show you. I think if Disney didn't own Club Penguin, it wouldn't have fallen. I forgot what they made the new Club Penguin, but there's like a new one. What's Gaia? Gaia Online. So Gaia Online was this... It was like a weeb type stuff. How do I put this? So Gaia Online was kind of like a website for young teenagers or adolescents who would go on there and chat with other people in the forums about anime stuff or edgy type stuff. But they also had like a main hub, a main game that you can go in and collect, and basically decorate your entire avatar. Let me see. Can I even go to Gaia Online? Yeah, it's still here. It still exists, but when it comes to like the population, not so much. Oh, there's like 5,000 users on. Yeah. So it's still on here. It still sorta exists, but compared to what it once was, like 50,000 people. Oh wait, no. 532,000. Isn't that kind of insane? Now it's just 5,000. Oh, how the times have changed. Toontown? Oh yeah, that's also on here. Toontown... I know they made a new one called Toontown Rewritten. Yeah, a lot of people like this game. I never touched it though. Except that one time. I played it during stream. I played Toontown for 24 hours. Pirates of the Caribbean Online. I've never played that either. Oh, I don't want to get like copyright struck. But yeah, these did exist at one point, and supposedly this one's still playable, kind of. Well, not really, it shut down in 2013. Okay, well, that goes the MMO list. So, during this time also was Minecraft. Yeah, this was a really popular game that took a little bit time, I think 2010 or 2011 or so. That's when it started spiking in popularity and people got to noticing it, and well, it created many of your favorite YouTubers of yesteryear. So I had to like incorporate this because it was important in the landscape of gaming. Webkins. Webkins. Webkins is like that one game where you have to buy like a... So Webkins is that one game where you had to buy like a bunch of what is it, figures, and those figures had codes that you could enter, I think, and either you got like some clothing for that avatar of yours, or you got some sort of item. Was that it? Yeah. Yeah. It was either like plushies, stuffed animals, or like figures that you had to buy. I remember I actually had like a couple of these. I think I still have some of them. I bought them from like the dollar store. Are they like valuable? Hold on, let me see. Are they worth anything? What is it? Webkin's figure. Oh! $26 for 4 of them. That's a steal. I'm just kidding, I'm not like selling any of these, but I do have some of them. I just don't remember where I put them. But these were like the stuff you could get, you could buy for $1, and then you'd enter the code online for them. Okay. Alright, microtransactions. So it's very important to mention microtransactions because the first ever microtransaction that was from a AAA title or a AAA developer was this. Can you guys remember or guess what game this is from? Any ideas? Oblivion? Yes, you are right. This was a DLC. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't call it DLC. It's a ripoff if it was. But this was issued by Bethesda as some sort of microtransaction in the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and it set you back, I think, $2.50. And this was the first ever dated microtransaction by a AAA developer, unless you guys know any beforehand. And it's hard to believe because this was like 2006, but this was the first ever microtransaction in a game that you had to pay for. And it was like a horse armor. So, yeah. You had to pay for it. I mean, you couldn't just get it in the game, and we didn't have mods back then. The Shivering Isles DLC is really good though. Yeah, it is good. You know, you have like Shia Gorath. And you have like the whole idea of like madness. I get that, but come on, man. $2 for horse armor? Well, not $2. $3 for this? I don't know, that'd be worth it. DLC, sure, but not this. Now, I also can't forget to mention Steam. So Steam was a very important part and integral in the whole video game sphere. Without Steam, we wouldn't have games, or we wouldn't know where to buy games, to be honest. So we're lucky to have an online platform to buy them from. Otherwise, I'd probably have a feeling that developers would eye gouge you for money. Yeah, if you just buy them off their own website and have to have like their own launcher for it. But Steam service is really good. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I had any problems, they were really friendly. They were pretty generous. Like if you needed a refund, you needed like good customer service, they always offered that to you. Yeah, and this is what it looked like back in 2003. It looked like a forum website. It doesn't look like what it is now, you know, with like the whole blue and black coloring. And you have like the Steam store page. It looked like this. Isn't that great? Alright, so during this time also came PS2 games, which some of you guys, or most of you guys, will probably recognize these right away. Now, it might not encompass the entire collection of PlayStation 2 games, but these are some of the most well-known ones. Yeah, there's Resident Evil. There's Grand Theft Auto, everybody loves that. There's Silent Hill, I just played this one. And there's Def Jam. This one I really loved. I played it back in my teens. What else were there? Not much else, really. Any games you guys recognize? I know GTA's been ported on, like, PC. Silent Hill, not so much. Maybe, like, the later series. I always found that kind of weird. Like, to me, I found this weird. Like, the Silent Hill series, there's only, like, 4 available on PC, on Steam, and, like, GOG, and, like, other platforms. But if you want, like, 1 through 3 of this game, you have to go on, like, Abandonware just to get it. That's, like, the strangest part to me. It's like they don't bother putting it up on Steam, but they have Silent Hill 4 on there. And it's like, why? So, like, in actuality, you could just play these for free. Not so much of Grand Theft Auto, though. Call of Duty. I never got to play Call of Duty. I did get to play, like, some of the FPS counterparts, like Counter-Strike, or Crossfire, or Combat Arms, but never Call of Duty. It had more to do with, like, aim assist. I just didn't really like playing FPS games with a controller. It just felt really weird. But also, since we were talking about PS games, or PS2 games, there's also the Xbox. I think this was the 360, or was this the original Xbox? But realistically speaking, the Xbox didn't really have a whole lot that the PlayStation, like, before had in terms of exclusives. Like, the only ones I can think of that are really well known are Halo and Fable. like besides that, there's not really any exclusives or like really anything that people, I don't know, fondly remember from the Xbox. Those are like literally the only two titles that I can think of. Forza, Call of Duty. Okay, well those are two good ones. Oh, actually, Forza. I mean, Forza a good one. But yeah, I can't really think of any besides those. I'm sure there are, but there'd be very few here. Okay, now moving on, we're gonna talk about the PS3 games. Which, majority of these, except for maybe The Last of Us, that wasn't available on PC at one point. But everything else is available. Well, actually, no. Red Dead Redemption is not available on PC, but everything else is. Yeah, everything here you guys could play on PC. Surprisingly, just not this one. And the funniest thing is, there was like a story one time, or a rumor that Rockstar, they lost the source code for this game, so they didn't bother to port it to PC for PC players to play. So they learned their lesson with the second game, but not the first game. The first game's just lost. And it's not like they can reconstruct it and just like move it over to PC, which is the sad thing. Play Wii Bowling. The original one is old enough. Wii Bowling? I haven't really touched the Wii in quite a long while. I want to say like in over 10 years. And the only time I ever played the Wii was I went over to my sister's house, like a couple miles where I lived. And I used to like spend time over there, like on the weekends. But there was like really nothing to do other than just like a Wii there to play like some Wii games. Either that or Super Mario. Oh, I didn't talk about this. I didn't talk about the Wii, but I don't think the Wii's that important. Maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of just mentioned like all the games that are available on PC, just so I could satisfy the PC gamers. But there's so many classics here. Also the Xbox 360 series. Majority of which, besides Gears of War and Mass Effect, are really the only exclusives. Oh, I think also Crackdown. Oh, no, Alan Wake's not exclusive. I don't think it is. What else is an exclusive here? Oh, you guys remember like the Xbox 360 Connect? You guys ever use that? Yeah, it's like the bar, and then like it's supposed to encourage physical activity. You guys ever did any of that crap? There are like games specifically made for that. Like, the only times I ever like engage in physical activity with a game was just with the Wii, because it was known for that. Whereas like the Xbox was known for like other games, and it tried to compete with the Wii, but it kind of failed. I used the Kinect. I always see so many of these games, even nowadays. Sometimes whenever I go inside like discount stores, there'd be like boxes and stacks of these Kinect sports games, specifically made for the 360 Kinect. And nobody would buy them, nobody touches them. And they're worth like, I don't know, like $1. You could just pick it up. It's always so funny to me. I always see that. Like, it's not that encouraging physical activity is bad or anything. I don't think, like, the games are terrible. It's just that if you tried to compete with the Wii, I don't know what you can do with that. I heard Xbox 360 is shutting down today. Really? Is it shutting down? That's sad. Hold on. Xbox... Xbox 360 Marketplace is closing forever on July 29th. Claim what you want to claim today. So what the fuck's the point of claiming it? If I claim it, isn't it just gone? Some free games to claim that I remember. Oh, you guys can claim these for free, apparently. Oh, 2 human. I guess if you guys want these, you could get them for free. Maybe transfer them over somehow. Maybe it's linked to your Xbox account. Just Dance 2018. Yeah. Kinect was the pre-era of VR. Kind Soul made a script to find all freebies. Whoa! So much free shit. I can get a Pop-Tarts t-shirt for my Xbox avatar. So yeah, guys, now's the time to get it. Also, thank you, Naomster, for telling me. I didn't even think Xbox was... I didn't even think the service was still there. Damn, look at all this. So much free stuff. Soon to be abandonware or lost media. If you guys don't claim it, it might end up in a lost media video. Maybe not, but... Okay. Now, Flash games. So, there are like a couple websites. This, I know like it was, it became a thing back in the 90s, but I put it here because I used to play a lot of these before I started playing console games. Or I got the chance to. Whenever I did get a chance, it was like going over to my brother's or my sister's house. So it wasn't often. But what I did have was a computer. A really old family computer. And I used to play a ton of Flash games. Alright? So some of them included cool math games, but I think most of them were off of Newgrounds. And some I just kind of found browsing free Flash games on Google. So yeah, there's like a ton of them. I'm still surprised that that Newgrounds has like a game player for Flash games and like other types of media on there. But like but every other Flash game site they've been kind of taken down, I think. Happy Sunday, YouTube didn't remind me, but I 2 times my way. Toontown is how I got to Wizard 101. It's a very similar in style. Yeah, we talked about MMOs a little while back. And thank you for joining, Giandida Smith. I hope you're having a great Sunday. Yeah, we talked about like the death of most MMOs because only 3 out of the 7 that we mentioned survived. Yeah, so it's a tough world out there for MMOs, but it's also a tough world for Flash games. Yeah, does cool math games still exist? Cool math games. Oh, it does exist. Oh my god. Look, they have Papa's Freezeria. Oh wait, no, that's not Papa's Pizzeria. I heard like the pizzeria was like really popular and a lot of people like that one. So I don't know if that's like true or not. But I'm very surprised that this is still a thing. So how do people play these games? Like without Flash, what is it using? Oh my god, I could save games too. I mean, I'm not gonna like play the damn thing, but great wages and lots of tips. I used to live on Pogo and Big Fish. They should make a comeback. Oh, that's the pizzeria guy. Damn. This is the order station. This is the build station. This is the mix station. This is the topping station. Isn't this like nostalgic? Hold on. We're gonna go off on like a little bit of a tangent. Damn, you want a lot of toppings for that, huh? Oh. Whoa. Holy shit. Man, this is so advanced. Like... That looks like dog crap. Alright. There you go, that's your Sunday. Did you guys actually eat this? Five stars? 92 points, what? That's like a 1 out of 5 stars. Alright, I'll try and do one more order. But I'm not gonna like make this like the whole stream though. Is this like what retail is like? Wow. Alright. Whoa. What? Can you play for speed either the first one and crash into the big donut? What? What are you talking about? Oh wait, I need to put the whipped cream first. Okay. Can I put more? Alright. There we go. What do you mean? That was perfect. What the fuck, man? 83%? Like, I perfectly made your order. What do you mean? Why it was 72 points? That was like the perfect, or everything was like right. I don't understand. The fuck? Alright. Try Papa's Freezeria Deluxe, it's so much better. Sure, maybe I could have like a stream of that. I don't know, depends. Alright. So, this is the time where we're at. Alright, this is the... I think it's the modern period. Or, I don't know what you guys consider the modern period. I consider this the time where everything is either bad or it's really decent. But most people, like I said in the beginning of the stream, most people consider this the best that gaming has ever been. Do you guys agree with that statement? So, it says, so my argument to that, but also the pro to that is nowadays, any game of any genre that you could possibly ever want is now available. So, whereas back then your choices was somewhat limited. But if you can think about a game, or you can think about anything that you want to play, it's probably been made into a game. So there is one argument for this being the best game genre. The best game period. The best game era. There is an argument to be made. So if you ever wanted to play action, shooter, sports games, role-playing, adventure, fighting, racing, strategy, family entertainment, what the fuck is that? Casual, others, children's entertainment, arcade, flight. Ignore the statista, by the way, this is inaccurate. Alright, this is obviously not right, because the numbers aren't entirely accurate, okay? But you guys get the basic idea. Anything that you want to play, it is most likely available nowadays. Car game, you should look it up. Need for Speed Donut after the order. Sure, I can look it up. Where's Simulation? I think it hasn't been made yet for this chart, but yeah, that does exist. Simulation does exist. So, my counter argument to this is that people still play old ass games. When people say that gaming has been better than gaming has been the best that it has ever been, my counter argument is that people still play old ass games. They don't play newer games and they don't keep playing them. Like, if you can think about it, like, do people play Starfield? Do they keep playing it, or do they go back to Skyrim? or they go back to Fallout 4. And the majority of them go back to playing old games. It's the same thing with MMOs as well. They don't really play newer games, or they don't stick to them. And when they do play newer games, they just go back to the older titles. So whenever somebody says, gaming nowadays has been a lot better than it has ever been, there is some truth to it, but then again, you know, people still play 10, 20-year-old games. And a lot of people still play Wizard 101 for some reason. So that's my argument for it. I'm not saying that people are wrong, but my opinion has like a pro and a con to it. The newer games just don't have the addiction factors that the old ones had. Yeah. With Skyrim, it's an RPG, and I feel like anybody can make this type of RPG, it's just that they don't. Like, I don't really get, like, the whole gist of Skyrim. I don't really get, like, the whole, I gotta play Skyrim, I need to keep playing this. Like, for me, whenever I play a game, and I'm like, oh, that was fun, I just move on to, like, the next game. But very rarely, nowadays, very rarely do I ever play games. Unless it's on stream. That's just like the honest truth. So, the other counter argument that I'd like to present are microtransactions and pre-order bonuses. So, whenever... And PC gamers also have this. You do have pre-orders, but compared to like consoles, you get like a variety of things that you'll never really look back on. I know for Starfield, there was like a $300 pre-order bonus where it came with like a watch, a suitcase, and I don't know, a replica gun of some kind. And that was all for like $300. So, you didn't see this type of thing back then. You didn't see, like, collector's bundles where you have to, like, pre-order something and get more in return, like costumes and all that type of stuff. Because all it was back then was just, like, the game, and, like, either you had, like, a DLC, or, I don't know, maybe there was an unlockable behind an achievement that you could just, you know, play for, and then you'll get it. Or like a weapon that you need to unlock. So, nowadays, like I said, you just pre-order something and you get it. You guys know what I mean? Whereas back then, you had to work for it, for like an achievement to unlock it in a game. Now you have to buy it. Like, that's just the saddest part. It's like the same thing with the new Silent Hill 2 game. You have costumes that you have to, like, pay for, but it's not exactly a bonus. Like, it says it is, but it's just part of a bundle. I just got my outfit is still exclusive. Yeah, but, like, I always ask, like, I always ask this, is it better to have it for free, to earn it in a game, or to just, like, straight out buy it, right? I'm not saying, like, the achievement does have to be difficult, but... Like, I've always said this. And it's the same thing with, like, MMOs nowadays, too. With the microtransactions being more rampant. Because they want more money. The transactions certainly helped kill MMOs, at least Wizard 101 never made it pay to win, just cosmetics. Yeah... But I find that if you push like microtransactions to like the players or the gamer's face, they'll be annoyed. You guys know what I mean? So whenever I load up Wizard 101 or I load up a launcher for any game out there, they have to display like 13 different microtransactions instead of like the updates. Like they have new pack, new mount, I don't know, Shark Week, Shark mount 50% off, and that's just like the That's when I log into the game, I see that. It's like, damn. What am I logging into? I'm just playing a game that's just microtransactions. Like, if they... I don't mind if they do that. Just, like, they don't throw it in your face. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine to support, like, a developer or, like, a game. Just don't do shit like this. This just kind of makes it look greedy. Like with the Overwatch thing, where they pushed loot boxes. Supposedly, though. Supposedly in Europe, and I don't know if like any of you guys are European, but they banned loot boxes over there. So Overwatch or Blizzard got in trouble for this, and they had to pay up the ass to remedy it. So I don't know if they still have loot boxes over there, or if any game companies have loot boxes. I think it's probably one of the reasons why Wizard 101 in Europe, it's not a thing anymore. Mostly because of this. I think it was because of like gambling that they banned loot boxes entirely. I could be wrong though. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think was the best gaming time period? This, for me, it was the years between 2000 and 2010. You could argue maybe back in the Nintendo days, maybe that was a thing that you guys liked. You didn't have any online components. The SNES, maybe the 1990s and 2000s, maybe you guys like that. For me, it was the golden age, and I consider 2010 to 2020 the golden age. Oh yeah, I apologize if you have a seizure, but I know I'm going through it like really quickly. But I consider 2010 to like, 2000 to like 2010 the golden age. I mean, yeah, it has microtransactions, as this was the start of it, but there are so many great games. In the beginning, though, I don't know if you can make an argument for that being the best. Because in the beginning, it was just this. This was like the start of the video games being a thing. And it was like really primitive. I don't think anybody would vouch for that. The 80s and Atari were pretty big, but we can also go with the arcade and play the fancy game. There were some intriguing PC games in the late 90s. Yeah. I'd say the SNES was also pretty good. My favorite was the Sega Dreamcast. Really underrated. But not because it was underrated, but because it had great games. And at the time, this was like... This was beautiful. The stuff was beautiful. But it's not that I don't have a heart for Flash games. It's just that when you play, like... It's like when you get a graphics card, and then you have, like, so many games at your disposal. It's like you never go back to Flash games. At least for me, I think. I went from Pong to Atari 2600 to Sega Genesis, and then PC ever since. Though I do own a Switch. Nice. Own a Switch. I never touched... I'm gonna be honest, guys. I have my Switch on here, and I haven't touched it in like how long? I don't know when I played what is it, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but I haven't touched this thing in... Hold on, let me see. let me see. I haven't touched my Switch in over... Oh, I haven't touched it in over 7 months. So, it's been that long since I even tried playing anything or like even touching the Switch. I think there's like a lot of dust on here. Okay. Alright guys, I think that's gonna do it for this stream though. I had a lot of fun like going through like the different time periods. My mom got me Super Mario Kart for Xmas, so I haven't touched the Switch since January. Never played Mario Kart before. I've actually... The only time I played Mario Kart was just... It was on the GameCube, and I mentioned this during the stream. But it was Super Mario Kart Double Dash. It was really fun. Hold on. I'm gonna play a little bit. So for Double Dash, you had like 2 players. Well, you could have 2 players. One would control like the cart, and the other could throw stuff. But you also had the addition of like 2 items. Yeah, you could also switch too. It's like so fun, man. You know, I'm kind of surprised that the stream hasn't dropped in like frames, but luckily it hasn't. Okay, that's enough. It was a fun time. Like, we didn't have a Wii, but we didn't play much after the first month. Yeah. That was kind of like with us, with my family. I didn't really get a chance to play console games. Unless it was like two generations later. Or I visited my, my sister's and brother's house. Old school Intellivision and ColecoVision were much better than the Atari. But the Atari games were so cheap, especially the Activision knockoffs, they just couldn't compete. Yeah, that's why Atari was like on top of the food chain. Like at that one time. Then Nintendo rose up and they, you know, they kicked their butt. And the rest was kind of history. Now Nintendo dominates the mobile gaming market. Or the handheld market, I mean. There's not really a whole lot of competitors in that space. So everybody has a piece of the gaming industry pie. Okay, well, I had fun. Anybody want to talk? Anybody want to mention anything else that they thought was like the best gaming period? If not, I'm gonna call it here. I'm gonna be ending the stream. Usually I go like more than like 2 hours, but this one went by somewhat more quickly. I'm still looking for that Mattel football handheld game though, all the rage in high school. Really? I remember there used to be like this handheld game called like I think it was like part of Tiger Electronics. It's like where it was like pixelated movements I forgot what was like. Was it called Tiger Electronics? Tiger Electronics. They had so many of these things. Yeah, it. Let me. It looked like crap, but it was like really cheap. like some of these were even available from like I think at McDonald's, if I remember correctly. They were like a cheap version if you couldn't afford anything that resembled a game. So this was your best bet. So you bought like a McDonald's Happy Meal and you get one of these things. The football game was just red dots on a screen. A kid I sat for had a really cool Star Wars game. I couldn't wait for him to go to bed so I could play it. Yeah, it's kind of a shame nowadays. When I say it's like a shame, you don't have that aspect of like going to somebody's house anymore. Like you could just like talk to them through the phone or like online. You don't have to like physically walk over there. But I guess that's also like a good thing, because like the internet connects everybody. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna call it here. This was fun. I also gotta like eat dinner, because I haven't done that yet. And I gotta go take a walk. Like I've been recently doing a lot more walking. Mostly because I want to get a little bit healthier, but it also clears my mind as well. Yeah, but I hope everybody enjoyed the stream. I hope everybody had a good day. Hope you guys have a good night. You guys take care, and I will see you next week. I haven't really figured out the schedule yet, so hold on. Let me switch. Yeah, I haven't really figured out like the stream schedule on what we're gonna do next week, but hopefully I find something that I think is fun. Otherwise, yeah. Thank you all for joining me for the stream. I really appreciate all the support. I hope you guys have a good night, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye, everybody.